If you're loving this podcast, be sure to check out our full lineup. From news and local politics to sports and true crime, find your next great listen right now at duluthnewstribune.com/podcasts. That's duluthnewstribune.com/podcasts.
Hello, Northlanders. It's Thursday, May 11th. I'm Dan Williamson with your Duluth News Tribune Minutes, presented by Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union.
The average MPECU member saves over $785 a year in better rates and lower fees. And with MPECU, every ATM is your ATM. With their free checking program, you get ATM fee reimbursements at any ATM anywhere in the U.S. Check out Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union's services online at mpecu.com or visit their offices in downtown Duluth, Arrowhead Road, or Miller Trunk Highway.
Now here's a look at today's headlines. Duluth City Councilors went into closed session earlier this week to discuss the status of a long-running and increasingly costly legal disputes over the city's method of assessing stormwater fees. Following that briefing, the City Council unanimously passed a resolution authorizing the expenditure of up to $260,000 for outside legal counsel to defend the city against what could become a class action lawsuit. Duluth has retained the services of Green Espel, a Minneapolis-based law firm. The case was filed in September of 2021 by two local businesses, Moline Manufacturing, LLC, and Glass Merchant Incorporated, doing business as Walsh Windows. They claim they have been overcharged for stormwater runoff from their properties. Sean Rader, an attorney for the businesses, argued that many other local businesses had been forced to overpay for storm sewer services, while other property owners were grossly undercharged. He estimated that more than 1,500 owners of non-residential properties had been subject to similar fees and were also due reimbursement for years of paying inflated charges. Attorney Catherine Swenson, representing the city, called that an oversimplification. She questioned whether the complaint filed by Moline and Walsh was representative of claims that could be brought by other property owners as well. Judge Eric Hilden gave the city's legal team a week to file an additional legal memo and said he would decide whether to certify the case as a class action lawsuit as soon as he could after that. The case is scheduled for more than a week-long jury trial in February. At the heart of the dispute is a disagreement over how the city has calculated stormwater fees on the basis of how much impervious surface may be found on a property. The suit also faults Duluth for exempting waterfront properties from stormwater fees and offering discounts for property owners found to have employed best management practices, again allegedly increasing the financial burden placed on other non-residential properties. The complaint says Duluth collected about $5.2 million in stormwater fees in 2020. A prolific Twin Ports con man with a half-century rap sheet admitted Wednesday to operating a fake law firm that swindled at least one client out of $2,500. Gail Allen Rockeye, age 73, of Duluth, pleaded guilty at a hearing in U.S. District Court to a felony count of wire fraud. Described by a judge more than a decade ago as the, quote, epitome of a white-collar career offender, end quote, his latest federal indictment was levied by a grand jury in December. The charges state that Rockeye, who has more than 30 felony convictions on his record, represented himself as a lawyer with 38 years of experience at a fraudulent Duluth area firm known as Midwest Legal Services. The indictment alleged that he accepted and later refused to refund a retainer fee provided by a victim who had contacted him for assistance in filing a post-conviction motion. He reportedly claimed to employ several attorneys, including retired judges from the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals and Hennepin County District Court. James B. Mitchell of Fayetteville, Arkansas, identified himself as the victim of the theft. Mitchell and the indictment both state that Rockeye requested a $10,000 retainer fee to be paid in installments. The victim issued the first $2,500 transfer March 15th. Rockeye most recently was sentenced in 2012 to 7.5 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to interstate transportation of a stolen motor vehicle. At that time, he had been charged in at least 56 criminal cases involving more than 90 counts of theft and swindling in Minnesota alone, dating back to the early 1970s. Federal prison records showed that Rockeye was released from his most recent sentence in May of 2020. He has, in the past, denied being a con man, claiming law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges are targeting him based on past convictions. Rockeye, in recent weeks, has also been charged in Douglas County Circuit Court with theft by false representation and issuing worthless checks. Court documents allege that he claimed to be a bail bondsman and refused to refund $7,500 that a victim had provided to him. Wire fraud carries a maximum of 20 years in prison. Senior U.S. District Judge Joan Erickson ordered a pre-sentence investigation and directed Rockeye to remain in federal custody. A sentencing date was not immediately scheduled. I'm now joined by one of my colleagues, Duluth News Tribune features reporter Melinda Levine. And Melinda, there's a story you're working on for Saturday's print edition of the Duluth News Tribune. It's also a story we can find online prior at duluthnewstribune.news. And you were telling me this story is about a couple of local farmers who put their heads together and came up with a very unique concept. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, so a couple of farmers in the Two Harbors Duluth area, Justin Osagian and Blaine Tatro, they conceived of this idea. It's called Clover Valley Farm Trail, and it's based off of the Fruit Loop in Bayfield, if anyone knows. And the Clover Valley Farm Trail is 11 farms in the Duluth Two Harbors area. They're all going to be offering their goods for sale between noon and 4 on every Sunday from Memorial Day to October. And it's just a really cool self-sustaining way for people to come and buy their goods and also get a glimpse of where their vegetables, flowers, goat cheese goods, or crafts are being made right here in the Northland.
As far as takeaways go, what was your biggest takeaway from this?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway was being reminded of how close-knit and supportive our regional agricultural community is. Farms like Soul Fed Farm and Farmlandy and Agate Acres, all of these folks are getting together and there's no competition. Like, they go in with each other on helping each other with fixes on farm equipment, or they go in together for big shipments of seed. It's all really cool and, just supportive, and I feel progressive. And I felt that, that was really cool to see.
I bet. As far as our audience goes, what do you hope they take away from this story?
I hope our audience can take away, this is another cool feature. Like, we have all these farmers markets in Duluth, around the Duluth neighborhoods, and also in Two Harbors. But here's like another kind of special Sunday offering for people to, if you're driving up the North Shore, if you're coming home from the North Shore, like, hey, check out some farms, get some fresh veg and some fresh flowers. And hope they enjoy. Another way to enjoy the North Shore.
Well, Melinda, we appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dan.
And again, you can find Melinda's article in Saturday's print edition of the Duluth News Tribune, as well as online prior at duluthnewstribune.com. Now here's a look at your forecast, brought to you by the News Tribune's Northlandia podcast.
Weather for the Duluth area today, areas of dense fog in the morning, becoming gradually sunny though in the afternoon with a slight chance of a shower. Warm though with temperatures in the low 70s. Chances of showers continue tonight into Friday with more shower chances and breezy conditions. Not quite as warm for Friday, temperatures in the low 60s, dropping into the low 50s for Saturday. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist Robert Pointer.
Thank you to the Northlandia podcast for their support. The weekly podcast explores curious and unique stories here in the Northland. Each episode celebrates the region's distinctive people, places, and history. You can find all of the episodes of Northlandia at duluthnewstribune.com or wherever you also get this podcast. Reporting for today's episode was done by Peter Passy, Tom Olson, and Melinda Levine. Thank you for listening to the Duluth News Tribune Minutes. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.